All right. Hi, everybody. We're back. Allison, after her little rap spiel, she decided to hit end stream instead of just piecing. So, thank you so much for that, Allison. Thank you for that lovely contribution. What would we ever do without you? So, with that being said, we're gonna just start over with the Pink Tribe because that's where we were kind of at before she came in. Q, he tells Ozzy that the idol came from him and Genevieve. He's like trying to build trust, and with this, he tries to get an alliance of Ozzy, Emily, and Stephenie as like a group of four to have like a majority heading into this first vote here. And Q and Stephenie, like they're very like in lockstep together. But Emily is the one that's like really kind of like in this like middle position here. They all agree like we're not going to tell Christian, Mike, and Angelina like about the idol and everything like that. Like we're going to keep them out of the dark. Wait, I think I missed that. Like Emily's the one that told Q about the idol, right? Can somebody refresh
Yes.
my memory?
Yeah,
Okay.
she did.
Yeah. So all of this came from like Emily to begin with. Like she's like, as soon as she hits the beach, she's like, I really like you. I really want to work with him. So I'm, despite like Christian telling me not to tell anybody, I'm gonna tell Q about this idol, and that's where like all of this gets started. Once like Q and Steph, like they have this info, like they're like really driving this vote to go against Angelina in the David versus Goliath crew. And Emily now is feeling like kind of like a number that's just like being like dragged along, like kind of like Chrissy being like that distant fourth in the other tribe. Like that's how like Emily is feeling here. But like she was just feeling that way like 5 minutes ago about like Christian's group as well. So it's just so much like back and forth about like I don't know who I feel good with, so I'm gonna like spill all this information, and everything's just like a damn mess. And like I was just like shouting at my screen like, Emily, you need to make up your mind like one way or another before you execute any plan, before you like leak any information. It was bad. It was messy.
Yeah, like Emily's issue is that she comes from a season where a lot of information was out in the open, and the only time that moves were successful was when they were hidden. And she did not learn that lesson from her first time around. The best moves of that season were definitely from secrets that nobody knew about. The issue I'm having with Emily is that she is trying to dive in head first, and she is so obsessed with like trying to find the majority as quickly as possible, which is like a valid thing, but she's so anxious about it that she is kind of just getting executive dysfunction and just kind of falling apart in the process. And she just needed to take a step back, use the confessional as a way to vent all of her frustrations and her information. Then after she kind of talks it out, go back in and be like, okay, like let's talk about it.
Once Emily like decides like, all right, I'm not feeling like good about this group anymore. So she goes to Angelina and she tells Angelina everything. She says like, listen, I spilled about the idol, but these people are going after you. But I'm like with you, like, don't worry. It was a very good, like, I feel like this episode had so many like honest, good, like girl talk conversations in a way that was like really building like good, like bonds and bridges and stuff like that. I don't know. I loved like this scene and like how it was like shot between the two of them. I don't know. It was good. It was good.
Christian's reaction to Emily telling him that.
Oh my god. Well, yeah. No, I was. I was watching. As soon as like the Angelina scene ended, like I literally said it out loud. I was like, oh well, now she has to go tell Christian that she spilled about the idol. And then literally the next shot is like her walking Christian into like the jungle. And I'm like, oh my god.
It was.
I feel like it's so difficult to make Christian angry. He's very clearly a very like chill dude in real life.
Yeah.
But like his reaction is just me reacting to my coworkers' emails sometimes. I'm like, just shut up.
His whole body like flinched. He was like, what? You told him? You told them about the idol? She's like, no, I told him everything. like everything.
And God, I think this just kind of gives a lot of evidence that the new era players are not equipped to handle a tribe swap.
Yeah.
In any capacity.
Yeah. Oh,
And
yeah. That's true.
I think there's only one person that one person that I feel like actually handled it well, other than maybe Dee. But it's Q, I feel like, and the irony of me saying that I understand, but when we get into tribal, I'll explain why.
Yeah, which is ironic because 45 was one of the few seasons that actually had like a proper swap.
Yes, correct.
I think like Emily, the issue is like Emily is she is so like emotionally driven here in a way that's like very unnecessary, because like she like just stick with the David versus Goliath crew. Like you were working with Christian in like the original tribe. That block of 3 is going to be way more important to like break up before you. Like you can still be in the swing position like a vote or 2 later from now.
It's also like she didn't wait for the why behind why Christian told her right at that moment. Like there's definitely an explanation of why he waited until then. I don't know why her first immediate reaction was he doesn't trust me or I'm not that important to him. Like that's not necessarily the truth. And Christian doesn't do anything for no reason. So like why he's not.
But now you've given him a reason to not trust you.
Exactly. Like why confirm what you think is true? Instead, make it muddier for him to not maybe think it's worth keeping you around or to trust you more. Like I don't understand that.
Yeah. So then we cut to the challenge. Just like a few like sporadic like challenge notes here. I was like I mentioned earlier, like Dee and Jonathan, I thought they were working really well together. I hate this challenge in general. Like any like blindfold challenges where like you could like DQ half of the cast. Like I just never think that it's worth it.
I love these challenges.
You do? Okay.
Yes.
So maybe I'm just I don't know. Maybe I'm a sensitive being, but
personal bias. I'm also good at these challenges. I did do an in-person like one-day game last year or year before. No, year before, and my tribe lost, but that's because they decided to not put me on like the closer as well as the yeller. I was like, I know I can do it. And they're like, no, this other person can do it better. And I'm like, okay.
Colby whacks his head on the beam and is like very visibly. Oh my god! I thought he like got a concussion or something. Then
I got flashbacks too.
Bruce. Yeah.
Did you notice the like Australian like didgeridoo sound like when he hit his head? Like that was like a cool little like callback.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was like wow, 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 wow. That's my didgeridoo impression for you. I also like noted that like Camilla was a really great caller. Like and that tribe like won like pretty easily because of her. I thought that was really genius to put her in that role. And then, so Orange wins pretty easily. Teal Tribe gets second. And of course, we see Pink Tribe. They lose, so they're going to Tribal. Jeff asks on Stephenie on the mat, like, this is going to be your first Tribal Council in 16 years. Like, how do you feel about that? And she recounts, like, all the tribals that she went to in Palau and stuff. And so she was like, I'm devastated. So,
fun fact, this was the first ever pre-merge Tribal that Devens has not attended while still in the game.
That is true. Because he went to every tribal council.
Interesting.
The first time he won tribal immunity was last night. Like
that's so funny.
I guess that explains like the big reaction that he had. Like he like I when I saw like the Orange Tribe win, like him and Cirie had like a big reaction. And
I mean, I would have too in their position because I would have been. Yeah,
that's true. You're right.
He probably also has trauma from his swap on this last time too.
Yeah, right. Yeah, for sure. All right, so back at the Pink Tribe, this is just some like fallout stuff before Tribal Council, but Mike White just decides to tell Stephenie in front of everybody, like, I'm probably voting you tonight, in the hopes that like that this is like a decoy to like truly like vote out Q, but like, you know, bless Stephenie and Q's hearts, they're not the most strategically savvy people, so they fall for this hook, line, and sinker. They think that Stephenie is getting the votes at first.
I mean, granted, you know, given the history of Stephenie, well, so especially coming off of Heroes vs. Villains.
Mhm.
I mean, you know, she kind of had that because she went to both her tribals before she was voted out, and kind of going through a similar thing of like, oh, we lost, time to get rid of Stephenie. It's kind of like, you know, par for the course for her. So I could see why she would kind of not necessarily accept it, but like
believe it,
already
or
ready
like,
for it, ready for people to be like, well, we're just gonna vote out Stephenie now. So
I will say also, them voting for Stephenie would have been worst case scenario for the two of them. That's just because Q did not have his vote.
Yeah.
So kind of skipping ahead here, like when Q asked Mike to vote for him, that was actually like trying to attempt at best case scenario. Believe it or not, that was them. The trio of former David versus Goliath voting for Q is the only path in which Q has a way for both him and Stephenie to survive without him having to betray Stephenie to stay in the game. And those are like super important because Q is known as a very chaotic player. So betraying someone, he loses any credibility that he has built over the last 7 days.
Yeah.
And that he's been trying to carefully construct. Like, he was doing a very good job at being a very good Alliance member and not being chaotic. And he's a very intelligent person. He's very aware of what his look is to the rest of the cast.
Yeah.
And so the way, due to him not having a vote, if the three voted for Stephenie, regardless of how anyone else voted, Stephenie always goes home.
I didn't think about that. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, however, if they vote for Q, there's a chance because they can then try to pull Ozzy and Emily, and then they go to a revote because it would be 3-3. And then because Q was not voting anyway, but now Angelina is also not, it would then be 3-2 on the revote, meaning Q would survive and Stephenie would as well. That is the only path in which they both survive, unfortunately, considering everything that led up to it.
That all makes sense, but like, so I don't knock Q for like telling Mike like, listen, throw the votes on me. I do knock him for like lying and saying like I have an extra vote. Like, that is where I think he's like doing too much here. That's like do you think that they believe that for a second?
No, Ozzy already knows he doesn't have a vote. So
yeah. That never would have.
I think I did read his post-exit. Q said that was his last attempt. He knew he was pretty much done at that point just because of how conversations were going and how people were avoiding him. So he was pretty confident that he was probably not surviving and that was his last-ditch effort to try to convince Emily to flip over to him. So, and if he got Emily, he got Ozzy. That was basically his thought process. But
pretty much.
He thought he did not give her enough time to talk to Ozzy about it. Unfortunately, she did find time to do it, and that's what sealed it at the end.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. So basically a tribal, like, Q gets all the votes. We had a pretty strong reaction from Stephenie while the votes were being read. Like, I feel like she was very surprised and like blindsided here. Let's see. Mike White. I love like while he's like voting, he like says like, "You told me to do this." Like, I thought that was really really great.
It was so good. It was so good.
And also like Christian gave Stephenie like a death stare while the votes were being read in a very like baller way that I like. You don't really see from Christian like having like chauvinistic flair like that. You know what I mean? It was cool. It was cool. It was cool.
I still don't think anything tops his stare when what's-her-face when they went to the first tribal for David versus Goliath, and he's just like, yes.
Oh, that was so good.
He enjoys the massive
so good.
a little bit more than he likes to believe. But yeah, and then Q, like, he gets up, he asks Ozzy if it was him, and Ozzy admits he says yes. I do also want to say that like we got a few check-ins like between like Emily and Ozzy, and I feel like they could be like a very good like mighty middle between like these two like factions, and really hold like all the power. So I wouldn't be surprised if like the next time this group goes to tribal, maybe they take out one of the David versus Goliath people next, like instead of Stephenie.
They would need an extra vote to do so, or one of them to lose a vote. I think if
Or
there
Ozzy plays
is
his
a
idol.
journey... Oh, sorry?
Or Ozzy plays his idol, right? Or does he have an
that-
idol?
Oh.
Or no, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, he does.
does the idol.
Yeah, because Cirie has the extra vote. Yeah.
The votes would have to go on Ozzy though, because he can't play it on somebody else.
Mhm.
The worst case scenario I think right now is if it's so tough because like journeys are very unpredictable, and it's tough to decide about whether or not you want one of your own members to go and lose that time to talk to people and the hopes of maybe getting an extra vote or a block a vote, or allowing the opposite side to risk it instead and possibly lose their vote in the process as well. And I think I would prefer just keeping it as much in control on my end as possible. So I think the correct move in terms of my preferences would be Emily or Ozzy going to the island themselves to risk their vote and just hope and pray that it works out. Because if the David versus Goliath trio gets it, it's over. Like they cannot risk going to tribal again.
Right. Oh no. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I do have a question. Do we think that people are more likely to play their idols this season given the fact that they can only play it for themselves? So that pressure of like trying to figure out who to play it on if you play it, like it's really just a get out of jail free card. Are they more likely to play it, or do you think they'll still keep it in their pockets?
I think the more seasoned players are playing like they don't have it. I think especially like when we saw in like 46 was that people were very much overvaluing how useful an idol is. And while it can be used as a statement, it should not be a defining moment of your game.
Right.
There's a lot of things that can lead up to that help support that and just the idol is the piece that kind of helps push you over. But there's other paths you can do without the idol. And I mean, we've seen winners choose to hold regardless and it be okay. I think it's also rare for people to want to use the idol on somebody else because there's a lot of things that can go wrong, and it's actually more likely to get misplayed in those scenarios. So I don't think it necessarily changes much in terms of the thought process. I think Ozzy has had idols before, and he has misplayed them.
Yeah.
He's misplayed every single one that he's had. I think there's definitely more pressure on Ozzy to use it correctly this time. But I don't think... I think Aubrey's more likely to misplay it than Ozzy this time around.
You think Ozzy, so?
Yes. I think just...
I disagree. Like
I don't,
I feel like Aubry is so ready to play this idol because of like the Genevieve heat.
Yeah.
Where like I can see Ozzy misplaying like these numbers in this tribe.
I'm a very similar... The way that I play games is like orgs and stuff is very similar to Aubry, where I would rather use an idol in a tribal and waste it than not need it and don't. And then need it and don't use it.
1000%.
And so I think Aubry kind of leans in the territory of, as you said, Aaron, earlier, that if she's probably going to use it at the first opportunity she feels like she's unsafe, which is not necessarily going to be true. I think that will probably happen if Kahlo goes back to tribal and Genevieve puts a lot of pressure on her. I very much think that Genevieve will be a little bit more successful at getting the votes to go her way. Just historically, she just has been. And I think, and while that will end up in Aubry's favor of playing the idol, I think also people are smart enough to not necessarily do what Genevieve wants. And I think that will result in Aubry using the idol when she doesn't need to. So,
alrighty, let's update our draft here. Aaron, I want to hear what you think about these draft teams, and I would also love to hear like who's like your winner pick, like all of that stuff. But so here is the draft. So Allison has lost her second person here. It's funny. So Andrew and Allison both have their 4th and 6th picks gone.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It was very symmetrical right now. But yeah, what do you think about these teams? Who's like, who would you have drafted first? Like all of that stuff.
Well, I can tell you because I also did my own 4-person draft.
Nice.
I do like a draft. I actually won my Survivor 49 draft because I drafted most of the final 6. I was like, yes,
Nice.
I had
Congrats.
it. Thank you. But yeah, so this season I ended up drafting. I drafted Coach first, and then I did Cirie, and then I did Jonathan, Savannah, Emily, and Tiffany.
Okay.
So that's who ended up in my group. So yeah, my people are kind of spread amongst.
You and Nate had the same first pick.
Yeah, we did. Yeah. I just wanted to make sure that Coach was on my team because I couldn't not have Coach on my team because Buffalo Bills fans and composers and Coach won me over when I met him in person 8 years ago.
Charismatic.
Yeah, incredibly charismatic in real life. It was so like I got the hype once I met Coach in real life. I love your team, Tyler.
Thank
Actually,
you.
looking at this team,
I'm feeling much better about my team after this episode.
I think both you and Nate are gonna give each other runs for your money. I think it'll be between your two teams. I think Andrew and Allison have strong people left. I think long term, I think you and Tyler are probably gonna be battling it out.
Yeah, for sure.
The only two people that I don't feel great about were my last 2 picks. I don't envision Genevieve or Charlie making merge or that far after merge.
Yeah, I could see it.
Devens is very clearly in it for the long haul. Tiffany is I don't think she's going to be pre-merge. She hasn't been given a negative enough edit.
I feel she's like mid-merge.
Yeah, that's the vibe I'm getting.
I could see it.
Angelina, same thing. But Coach, I feel like, is making it very deep.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with that.
I hope so. So, Aaron, is Coach your winner pick then?
It was hard to kind of parse a winner pick. Mm-hmm. I would have said preseason based on like the Ponderosa interviews. I would say Coach, I think from what the show is giving, I feel like it would be hard to not see like a Christian.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or at least somebody related to Christian in some way winning. I just feel like Christian and Devens have been like the main storyline.
Yeah.
Even through this swap. So I'm curious to see narratively what they're trying to do with that if Christian ultimately does not win. Because I don't really know what that means. So
the story and the themes that are brought up at the very beginning of the show are typically what carry out in terms of the winner. And the season's edited very weirdly compared to like regular seasons.
Yeah.
And we do have to like put into the fact that it will probably not be obvious who wins until very late, like it usually is with a lot of.
I would agree with that.
I do think that we are going to get a kind of like the reheating, like yesterday's nachos with the integrity versus non-integrity stuff. Because that's been present in every episode.
Yeah, that actually, and I haven't really said this on a podcast before, but my theory in terms of the Survivor 50 casting was that Jeff loved 48 so much that he wanted to redo that with 50.
Yeah.
And I feel like the cast makes so much more sense with that lens in mind. Yeah.
Totally.
It just feels like the whole thing with like the duos and then like the multiple people from seasons, but also like the honor and integrity thing. I just feel like they really wanted to make 48 work all over again. And I hope it doesn't go that way, but I'm really scared by them voting off Q over Stephenie that you could be leaning towards the honor, because I don't know if Q would be honor and integrity in the same way that Stephenie would be. I feel like leaving Stephenie is especially if they don't go back to tribal, I would only have kept Stephenie with the intent of voting out Stephenie immediately. I just feel like leaving Stephenie to potentially go back to her friends is not great for them long term. I'm a little worried about that.
And I think of course, like this is not what I personally want, but reading the edit, like how we are right now, like we have to acknowledge that like Jonathan's edit is so like
it's incredibly positive.
Perfectly positive. Like we hear from so many people that like I really like Jonathan. He gives me like old school player vibes, but like no downside. Like we've seen Joe be described as like old school, but then we get like crazy Joe at camp, right? And same with like Coach with like his drama with Ozzy. Steph has been like pretty like she hasn't had like a fully fleshed out edit yet, in my opinion. But like we hear from everybody that like Jonathan is great. I want to work with Jonathan. He's very old school, like loyalty, integrity, blah blah blah. So just preparing everybody that like Jonathan could make a very deep run in this game. I see it.
I mean, he did the last time. He wouldn't have won, but he did make a deep run, and he's very capable of doing it again.
For sure.
I think currently the way it is edited at the moment, if someone told me Jonathan won, I'd be like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Like that's
I could see it. I could see it. Yeah,
that's everyone clearly likes him. Like it's like we haven't even heard anything negative from people who don't like the integrity stuff. Like from in fact, she even gave him a positive, which is I thought that was bizarre. Other than the fact she's like, I might not have to go to tribal again. So.
You just reminded me, Nate, actually, because for me, I've known of Jonathan since what was it? 2008.
Was it
with Endurance Fiji? Yes, Endurance season 6 Fiji. Yeah. So for RGP, when I was doing the Endurance reunion, at the time I had tried to get an interview with Jonathan, who, unbeknownst to me at the time, was filming 42.
That's funny.
Which is really funny. But Jonathan and I think this is something also that I might want to keep an eye out for. Famously in Endurance Fiji, Jonathan's team was eliminated because they drew the wrong rock. It was one rock in a bag, and they drew that one rock, and it cost them the game. I wonder how Jonathan feels about ties and rocks. I actually because I don't think Jonathan's really experienced that before, and I think that could be something to watch out for as the season gets a little bit more twisty and possibly more gamey towards the end.
I think if 42 is an example, I think the Omer vote out is actually an example of him not being a fan of ties. I think he's not going to be a fan of ties. Strictly not only from that, but also from 42 stuff. So but I also I said it on a previous night, but like I actually have a friend who's acquainted with Jonathan. They are affiliated with like his acting coaching because he's trying to get into acting. And they don't like Jonathan in general, but like they have said that he is not bad to work with. So I think that's a positive for him. And I also think like him trying to be more open with himself, because like when you're acting, you do have to be very raw and very open with your feelings, and that is something that we did not see from Jonathan the first time around. He thought it was just like, oh, I'm going to beast mode everything, and he ended up getting too hungry and angry at everybody, particularly the women. But yeah, like I think we are seeing a different side of him.
I think it's really just going to come down to like who is in that jury if Jonathan makes it to the final three. Like if it's like a bunch of these like old school like Coach and Joe and Stephenie, like I could see the votes coming in for him. But like if we're looking at like Tiffany, Aubry, like the David versus Goliath crew, Emily, I'm not sure if I could see him getting the votes there. So it's really going to come down to who's on that jury, like voting for Jonathan, because everybody has an impression about him one way or another. And I don't feel like any final tribal speech would necessarily change that, probably. I don't know.
I do think that we are building towards Coach's side versus Christian's side. I think that's kind of where we're going towards at the moment. I think the edit regarding the idol was also for when Christian was giving it to Aubry was very, very big. And while even if the idol itself isn't important, that scene I feel like is. And I think that's going to be a long-lasting effect in terms of how Aubry and Christian are going to be post-merge. Because one thing that's been common for Survivor, the Survivor winners edit in terms of the new era at the very minimum, is that the winners they often tend to hide the winners a little bit with a negative portrayal in 1 or 2 episodes in the middle of the pre-merge. Every single winner has gotten something like that with the exception of like 1 or 2. And that's really just Dee. And even then Dee's was kind of obscured by the whole Sifu vote.
I think that was the most
very convenient. Very convenient for them for that to happen. But other than that, they usually like the biggest example is Gabler. He was given a very negative pre-merge edit, and then once merge hit, only positive. Like he was given every single positive moment that they possibly could give him. There wasn't much, but they did give him everything they could. Marianne, same thing. Erica, a little bit. They were kind of, I think, still figuring out the new era editing style in 41 for sure. Who else am I thinking about? Jam, same thing. Everything that was given to him after Josh was voted out was positive. Like it was, everything was spun in a positive way for Jam's favor.
Kenzie, that pre-merge Yano tribe, they did not make them look good at all.
Going back to that with Banu specifically, the irony of Q's vote out, other than the fact he was wearing the exact same clothes he wore the last time he was blindsided. He didn't think he was blindsided, but clearly it was hidden from him. He went out at the 3rd tribal after a medevac had happened, so he was 4th boot with no vote that he could use, exactly like Banu.
That's so funny.
The irony of the whole situation with him is like
Banu.
Fantastic.
Oh God. Yeah. I guess Rachel kind of had the whole stuff with
Andy.
being Andy and being blindsided with Annika. Kyle had the little, I guess precarious.
Very
swap.
precarious. It was more convenient, and they were able to hide it a bit better just because Camilla was also kind of with them.
And Savannah and Juwan, that whole situation.
Yep. So
I think,
yeah, and like they really actually laid into Savannah in the pre-merge. I remember just because like Shannon going home pre-merge was like a huge part of her, and then it led into getting blindsided. That was merge. So no, they laid into Savannah. They did not think that she played a good game.
She was so kooky,
incredibly so.
Her TikTok has like shown up on my feed a few times, and I'm like,
she's nuts.
Oh boy,
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, with that being said, guys, thank you so much for joining. Like, I feel like we did a really good job, like breaking down like all the new tribe dynamics and kind of like the setup moving forward. And I'm really excited for next week. And gosh, we got to start getting like more of these people out. Like, I keep looking at the schedule, like another single boot.
What are they gonna do? Why is it only single boots?
Are we doing? Like, I was expecting like triple eviction.
I thought it was gonna be double boots until the merge, and then kind of like the regular schedule. But this kind of like
you're doing like
backloading it. It's kind of What are they gonna do?
Also. They're probably going to do what they did in like Redemption Island, where they have another instant tribal council at tribal. Like immediately.
They're going to pull a Cook Islands?
Yeah. Immediately after, it's another vote out with like a mini challenge in between, like because that's what they did, and it's just kind of speed up the process. Yeah.
We need to start doing some double tribal councils. I don't know why. We're like waiting to just get rid of people. It's fine.
I think honestly, I'm kind of okay at the moment for them not doing it right away because it allows all these like relationships to
I'm enjoying these character moments. For sure.
I do get it from like a production standpoint of like, okay, let's give everybody at least like a week and a half in real game time. Like give most of the people at least like 7 to 10 days and then kind of like cut them all real fast. But I mean, still.
I will also say that if the game becomes more unpredictable, it does tend to stagnate gameplay a lot. Because we saw that in like previous seasons where if people didn't know and didn't trust that it wouldn't stay thing, like in a certain path, then they would just stick with the alliance and play it safe because they didn't know what kind of randomness was coming. So if they start doing like double tribal right at the start, then people are probably going to just stick with the 4 that they know and not really change their gameplay for a lot, and that can really impact the post merge, not in a great way.
Yeah.
Alrighty, well, that's I think that's it for us for tonight. Thank you guys for tuning in. Sorry about the part 1 and part 2. I'm gonna try to like clean it up in podcasts before I upload as much as possible. But sorry for any abrupt oopsie ending and then starting again. And I can't wait to tease Allison about this next week. So, all right, well, thank you guys again, and we'll see you guys all next week. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.